We'll take it. It's another win in the books for Duke, and now their biggest test yet, the North Carolina Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. This is what college basketball is all about. The best rivalry in sports. Drum it up. Let's roll.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man. The Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is J.J. Jackson. Thanks so much for being here with us today on Thursday, February 5th, 2026. Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on inside the life of Duke athletics. On today's show, our good pal Conor O'Neill from Devils Illustrated hanging out with us today. We're going to break down everything you need to know from Duke's win over Boston College, 67-49, the final score in that one. And now the North Carolina Tar Heels due up next for Duke. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and written review. Take a moment, if you will, go ahead and like our videos, share it with your friends, and watch us each and every day on YouTube. A special shout out to all of our everydayers in the YouTube audience. And if you haven't done so already, maybe consider joining our Everydayer Club here with Locked On. $5 a month, $50 a year. You can get all access to Locked On Blue Devils, no ads, ad-free versions of the show, and so much more. Follow us on X at LO_Blue Devils, and I'm there as well at _JJ_Jackson_. All right, a bit of an underwhelming second half effort and performance from Duke, but what is not underwhelming is Conor O'Neill, as he kindly joins us each and every week. How's that for an intro?
I'm flattered. I was nodding here right along. It was, I think the word John used last night was disjointed. Yeah, just not a good second half. I'm glad I can rise above the level that Duke played in the second half.
Okay, 67-49, the final score. They scored 42 points to Duke in the first half. So you almost scored as many as Boston College scored in the game, and yet you leave with this feeling of, what was that? Why was this? It's crazy how that second half really changed the mood and overall takeaways from a game like this.
Yeah, and the other part is, like, the lead never dipped. I don't think it ever got to 12. It might have gotten to 12 once, maybe 13, but it was never like you're sitting there.
That is crazy.
Yeah, Duke is in danger of losing this game.
Right.
It had this very narrow lane of being a 13 to 19 point lead throughout the whole second half. You got to give BC credit. I was on the phone with a colleague earlier today and talking about how, BC's only chance in some of these ACC games is to muddy the game up and to make it as physical as possible without getting all their guys in foul trouble. And you look at the foul sheet last night, and they're 13 for both teams through the whole game. And that, plus coaches not even calling timeouts in the second half, is why we got to the end of the game and it was like 8:52 Eastern time or something like that. Like I was definitely back in the Cameron media room before 9 o'clock. And I was like, oh, great. We had a sub 2 hour game that almost makes up for the crimes against basketball that we just had to watch. But, it's where you give BC credit. You look at some of the shots that Duke had in the second half and you think those are decent shots. They go in a lot of times, like they're open looks from the corner. They just didn't make them. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's time to ring the alarm bells and Duke is going to lose by 12 in Chapel Hill this weekend because they played one bad second half. Actually, we're going into the game this weekend thinking both of these teams were underwhelming the way they ended their games in the tune-ups, if you want to use that phrase for these. So interesting second half. I don't think John is going to want to pin that one up on the wall. I don't think, unless he wants some motivation. It's just kind of ugly.
Yeah, you're able to just, with this one, flush the tape, move on, and okay, here's North Carolina. It's a win at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. Is that you still perfect in league play, 21-1 overall in the year, and you don't have to hype yourself up for a game like North Carolina Duke. The game itself will specifically do that. Any other game, I would wait a little bit longer and probably wouldn't even bring on the apparel and moves that were made. But in a game like this, I'm able to do it. So we got to go there. Everydayers, you watch the game against Duke and Boston College. The Blue Devils wearing the same shoes, every single one of them wearing the Jason Tatum 4s. The Conor O'Neill take on the wardrobe from Duke basketball. What were your favorite things you saw online? What were the conversations about this amongst you and the fellow press row? What give it to me?
So I'm very grateful that I'm gonna butcher the hell out of this last name. Zion. Everybody knows Zion.
Yep.
O. He runs the
Duke
Duke
NBA. Yep.
I was grateful as hell that he had a tweet right around game time that I saw that explained that they were the Jason Tatum whatevers. They were obviously gifted to them by the. I had to remind myself of his title, Chief Basketball Officer. Because I had no idea what was going on. I missed. I think the team was wearing them like an hour before the game, and people were tweeting about it. I missed all that discussion. Like,
sure,
sorry. I don't know. It was an interesting look. I don't want to sit here like a boomer and tell you that I hated it. I've removed myself from basketball shoe discourse ever since like going to basketball camps and being judged on your skill level based on whether you had on the
whatever
like
shoe you
Kobe's
had.
or the T-Max or the Iverson. Like, that's never made much sense to me. I understand like it does have its place in basketball discussion. And I think it was cool that they all had on the same shoe. Like, I was kind of taking note of some of them changed the laces and most of the team didn't, but some of them relaced the shoes with red laces. I think Darren Harris, Isaiah, Cam Sheffield, maybe one or two others had red laces on, and everybody else had yellow laces on. So that was my observational point of the night with the shoes.
Yeah, and a shoe like that going to the coaching staff as well, like Shire and the whole.
It was down the lit. Like Jose Fonseca, the trainer, had them on. Like, I think there was one of those like grad student / practice players had on black shoes, and I was like, wow, he must really hate the shoe, or just like they didn't actually get to him. Like, he's that far, I don't know if you take it as a slight or what, if you didn't get to wear the Jason Tatum shoe. But there were maybe one or two people even loosely associated with Duke basketball who did not have on these shoes last night.
I was a big fan. I thought it was cool, a way to switch it up, because initially you're thrown off that Duke's not wearing white jerseys at home in a game inside Cameron, and then immediately you keep just working your way down the basketball player, and wow, here are these bright yellow shoes that everybody's wearing. There you go. That's all we need to talk. Duke and Boston College, they wore yellow shoes, man.
The apparel discussion, I even lose track of whether you're supposed to wear white or blue at home. Like, all that's they're going to be out there. I know what Duke's players look like. I don't care what color they are. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm colorblind, but right. I lose track of that stuff.
Right. It's very clear that they're both teams wearing different colored jerseys. And like you said, we see these guys all the time and whatnot. But no, that was a big deal, man. Everybody wearing the same shoes. Look, we'll give people that segment that they wanted for sure. All right, let's get to a little bit more basketball things from the Duke Blue Devils. And they've got a big one coming up on Saturday against North Carolina. Again, fresh off this win over Boston College. Our show continues here in a moment.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukelich and a huge advantage in the paint staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
All right, forward we go on the show today. JJ Jackson hanging out with Conor O'Neill from Devils Illustrated. Duke basketball winners over Boston College by a score of 67-49. Once again, Cam Boozer does a little bit of everything. 19 points, 12 rebounds, career high, 5 steals, and what a dunk, man. What an exclamation mark to end the first half. Going body to body with Boston College and able to throw it down like that. I got Cooper Pitt flashbacks when you get those big Cameron Indoor dunk moments from these star freshmen, Connor.
Yeah, that was something else. I didn't realize until somebody had told me on Twitter that I don't even remember which BC defender it was, but they had like both hands going through the rim, and Cam Boozer just went up, and I think the hands were kind of disappearing as Boozer came down with the ball. But yeah, that was electric. It's kind of funny not to belabor the point about the first and second halves. If you just cut the game off there and didn't watch the rest of the game, you're thinking, what the hell happened to Duke in the second half? Like you missed basically nothing of importance there. We got to find out a way to incorporate into a nickname for Cam Boozer, the don't take him for granted. Yeah, I feel like it's become just such a given that he's going to give you anywhere from 15 to 30 points in a game. He's going to do it efficiently. As I'm looking at the box score here, actually, this is the first game he's played all year where he did not take a free throw.
Yep.
It's wild. For as much contact as he takes. He made a 3 on the first possession of the game, and that was the only 3 he made all game. But he's so efficient, so effective. Like the stuff he does, the consistency that he does it with, and the maturity that he does it with is just he's so far beyond his years in his approach, and the way he plays his ass off throughout the entire game is pretty special to watch.
Yeah, I just went to look to verify for both of us here. It is the only game that he didn't have any free throws, and there have been 3 games where he had 4. But I mean, that's the jump, is 0 to 4 free throws. Like, this is a guy that's gonna get to the charity stripe and tee him up and whatnot. I thought also in a game like this, Connor, what was noticeable is just 33 minutes out there on the floor. And typically, I'm not gonna look at something like that, but in the grand scheme of Cameron Boozer, he's out, he's averaging 37, 38 minutes per game as of late. And I've said it before, I think that's one of his most underrated qualities for a guy that is incredible, is his endurance to be able to go through the game after game. I'm the focal point. I'm where everything's going through. And so in a way, I guess you're glad, if you're Duke, that it's only 33 minutes, that you didn't have to fully exert this guy, knowing what's coming.
It did feel like there were more stretches last night where they had Malik Brown playing the 4 and Pat Gongba playing the 5. And I don't want to say that's, intentional, because Duke thinks that he's going to have foul trouble in the first half of Carolina. Like, how can you look into a crystal ball and see that coming? But it is something that, like, the benefits are twofold. One, you take just a little bit off the plate of Cam Boozer. You're not asking him to play 37 minutes every single night, especially when you have a 18-point win that in the second half you're never really threatened that much. And then you are preparing for that scenario where Cam Boozer might have 2, might have 3 early in the second half, and you have to go an extended period with Malik and Pat Gongba playing. And Malik has proven he can play all 3 positions. We've seen him play the 3. It's been rare, and really the only extended time we saw it was against Florida. And who else has the front court to match Florida other than Duke in the country right now. And then we've seen Malik play the 4, and we've seen him play the 5 when he's in there with Cam. So it's good that Duke has 3 front court guys that have one that can play multiple positions, and they make things work from there.
All right, so scoring-wise in this game, you get the 19 from Cam, 12 come from Isaiah Evans, made 2 3-pointers. Still, the percentage is not where you would want it to be. Hopefully, there's a big swing coming in the other direction for him. But I'm liking the looks that he's getting and more volume to it. The 2-point number has been really impressive as of late. And I say that knowing it fell off a little bit in this Boston College game. But good to see Isaiah Evans go in a rhythm. And now we're up to, 28-0 in his career when he reaches that double-figure mark.
Yeah, you and John Rothstein love that one.
If I bring it up first, I wouldn't go there, Connor. But look, I look, if someone's talking about it and there's a 0 next to it involving Duke, I'm inclined to like those things.
I'm torn here because I know there is relevance. Duke is 56-5 since Isaiah Evans got to Durham. So
Sure, yeah.
it's kind of, I feel like
that's totally fair. Shame on me. You're right. Yeah.
We're toward the second, like I did that Mark Mitchell double-digit tracker for 2 years, and it was not until like in his sophomore year that I realized, well, the context here needs to be pointing out what their record is when he doesn't score double digits. And that was where you really saw the impact, where it was like whatever it wound up being, I think 31-3 or 31-4, something like that, when he was in double digits. And then it was like 18-12 when he scored in single digits. Like it was very stark contrast. I'm not saying it's not a contrast with Isaiah, like a 28-0 versus probably had a couple DMPs, so something like 27-3 or that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it feels like splitting hairs when you're talking about what Duke's record is for 2 years.
It's been a really, really impressive run. Everydayers would be able to go back. There are sickos out there if they wanted to. I did the double-digit stat, like Trevor Keel's run that he had for Duke in that Final Four year. But to your point, JJ, that's a Final Four team is what I should have been. That's a really impressive team that's going to have a whole lot of wins along the way. I guess the more impactful thing would have been, what is it when they don't do those things, like you said to the Mark Mitchell point. But Trevor Keels had a good one too.
You knew Trevor Keels was going to start with 3 points in the first minute because he's always good for that early 3-pointer in every game. And then he thought he was a shooter, so he's shooting the next few times he touched it. And if he got hot, then it
only takes a few of them to get in, and then you're at double digits. Yeah. I didn't think we'd have Trevor Keels on the radar today, but I'm glad we were able to give him some. Who knows? In the new world of NCAA, let's go there, Connor. Trevor Keels back for Duke basketball.
He's played 3 NBA games in 8 minutes, and I know that because of a joke I looked up, not because I looked up in anticipation of Duke adding him to this roster. I don't think they would. But Nate Oates 3 weeks before he added Charles Bediako said he, as a former high school coach, he didn't like the pros coming back and taking high school players' positions. And then he went out and got a G League center that couldn't stop Florida from scoring 72 points in the paint on his rear end. So you never know with these things.
You don't. Anyway, Isaiah Evans, he's not, I like when he scores, and the threes, I want them to come along and that sort of thing. Caleb Foster, 8 points, just 4 shot attempts. Loved his effort over the weekend when clearly he was not feeling the best in that game Duke had against Virginia Tech. In some ways, I was looking for Foster to be a little bit more aggressive in the second half, Connor. Like looking back at this, I'm like, man, only 4 shot attempts when you've got the ball so much, knowing you've had big scoring outputs like that Louisville game, for example. Get downhill, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like there's an advantage for him when he's matched up against most guards, because most guards aren't 6'4" or 6'5". But he is a point guard. I don't think he's a scoring point guard. Like he is a distributor. He's obviously worked hard on that, and that's why you see games from him where he's got twice as many points as he has shots. He'll drive it in there and look to pass. It's kind of what this team needs out of him. I am curious if there will be a game down the line where he'll need to take over with the scoring punch that he did against Louisville. I would kind of think that that's not going to be a one-off and like a, one shooting meteor that we see a 20-point game out of him, but that's all we got for now.
For sure. Like I thought, okay, man, this is a new level. It's unlocked. He's going to know that he can do this from time to time. The finishing ability around the rim was always kind of questionable despite his size. Like you would have felt like it'd be better. And then I remember a couple of games after that first Louisville scoring, some of the layups that he had just weren't falling, which was uncharacteristic considering what you had just seen against Louisville. So we'll see if he can figure it out and whatnot. What Duke's got, though, is a big team in size in North Carolina that they'll be playing on Saturday. It's the best rivalry in all of sports, and we get to talk about it on the other side of this break here on Locked On Blue Devils. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit specific criteria like skills, certification, location, all those things. That's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific and target exactly what you need. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you reading this, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. Proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Our show today is also brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Game Time is the absolute best, my friends, and that's where I go to look for all of my tickets, the best sporting events that are around. Right now, there's nothing like an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I gotta love all of the all-in pricing that you see up front. There are no surprise fees at checkout. Being able to see the view from the seat before buying made the decision easy. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not gametime.com. Gametime.co, as Game Time is a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Saturday, it's in Chapel Hill. It's going down. College game day is there, and it's Duke and North Carolina. What more should we say? It's the best rivalry in sports, and we've got a ranked matchup here. We've got massive front courts for both teams. I don't know about you, Connor. I'm ready to see how this one plays out, man.
Yeah. The only part of this that I don't like is I always like the first one of these matchups being on a Wednesday night. I always
Interesting
thought it was cool.
take. Okay.
I as much as a 9 o'clock basketball game hurt when you had a newspaper deadline of 12:15 and you had to pound out a story that was probably going to suck and be incoherent. I miss the first one of these being a weeknight, and part of that is just when I came down here and went to school at Elon, that Wednesday, everybody who had an affiliation would walk around their campus with the school colors on. Even at little old Elon, where there's, not all that many in-state kids.
Yeah, so, let me run that back because I flashbacks like growing up. You're right, because you would go to school the next day. Even in elementary school, I could remember growing up in the state and knowing that at least that midweek game, if your side won, you're feeling good sitting at the lunch table the next day. But if not, man, things might be a little different.
Yeah. Now, this not to turn this into a kids are too soft these days, but now kids, the next day is Sunday. Nobody's in school on Sunday, so. But no, this is such a good matchup. The front courts is the first thing that I think about. I mean, which one has the advantage? It's going to be, you're going to have the high level draft discussion type stuff with Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson, who's the better prospect for the NBA. I'm more interested in the aspect of, I think Caleb Wilson's going to want to prove that he is on Cam Boozer's level.
Yep.
All the National Player of the Year discussion goes around Cam Boozer, rightfully so. But that a guy like Caleb Wilson, who's wired the way he seems to be wired, is going to have a point to prove that he belongs on the same level. He deserves to be talked about in the same types of ways. So there's going to be a good one-on-one matchup in that front court. Henry Visar and Pat Gongba can both step out and hit threes. Neither one of them is all that comfortable defending on the perimeter. That's kind of why Duke has stopped switching 1 through 5. So it's going to be very interesting outside. Carolina can go with the jumbo package. Like, they can throw Jaren Stevenson in there at the 3. And then what I want to see is Duke's reaction to that. Does that mean Duke goes to that big lineup with Malik Brown playing the 3 that we've only seen a handful of times, but that's the lineup that won against Florida. So this is kind of the cream of the crop for why it's so fun to cover either one of these teams.
Yeah, and a game like this, you just never know how it's going to play out. As soon as you start thinking about the size in the front court, then my mind goes to, well, I hate to do, but what's the officials' impact in this? Is it a tight whistle? Are we having foul trouble? I can recall in one of the games last year, Cooper Flagg was one of the only times all season he got in foul trouble, happened to be one of the North Carolina games, and it puts you behind the 8 ball in that stretch. We want to see best on best. If you're Duke, maybe you wouldn't mind a little bit of moments where guys are in foul trouble and not out there on the floor. But, I mean, man, you think about in KenPom, the number 2 tallest team, the number 3 tallest team squaring off in Chapel Hill. Man, this is going to be a big showdown.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see who the refs are. And you can kind of already cherry pick who some of the contenders would be. Even just using last night's game and who the refs were, it was probably 3 guys that I don't expect to see on Saturday. But you can kind of narrow down the list of Roger Ayers, Ron Groover, Bert Smith.
The things it says about you that you're firing off all these referee names.
You might not like it, but Lee Cassell is getting up there in the ACC hierarchy of refs. And I will point out Duke is 16-0 with him calling games since the debacle at Virginia a couple years ago. So, yeah.
But what is their record when they don't have Lee Cassell as the ref? It's been pretty good.
That's very good. Very good. I'm glad you brought that back to me. And they've had some wins with Lee Cassell on the whistle that the one that comes to mind, the Sweet 16 game against Arizona last year, did not feel like it was officiated well, and he was on that game. But yeah.
Let's in the comments. Let us know your referee predictions. I want to hear it.
You should at least have 2 of the 3 between Ayers, Groover, and Bert Smith. And then there might be a wild card in there. I would be shocked if 2 of those 3 are not doing this game. We'll see. We'll see how it all comes. And those are 3 guys that I think of as they let you play. They don't have the biggest egos. They're not in there asserting their authority. That's the joke I use with Tony Padilla. That's Doug Shows, who did the Kentucky Arkansas game and called a million technicals. I don't think of those guys as egotistical guys.
Yeah.
Groover will just go to the monitor 18 times a night.
Referees, not an envious job in some way. It's amazing when you look through guys that call a game in North Carolina one day and then they're in Louisiana the very next night calling another game, and then they're back, like with all the conference allegiances, and you can kind of go wherever you want to if you're respected enough by these officials, and their travel and whatnot is insane fun. Someone needs, it's probably out there, create an account, follow some of these guys with the games that are out there and that sort of thing, because they're all over the place.
Yeah, there's one Twitter account that tracks Roger Ayers' movement, and they'll have at the end of the year, like it's a whatever it is, 120 or 130 day season, maybe 150. He has maybe like 22 off days, and a lot of those are just Ayers, in NCAA tournament time when you can't help but have an off day if you're an NCAA tournament official.
Yeah, nobody's watching, Sun Belt basketball on like these referees, but they'll go do it to be able to get a little paycheck and stay active in it.
Yeah, no. Last year I went to the Elon Towson game on a Thursday night, and Roger Ayers was doing the game. One of the other veteran guys was doing it, and then there was a younger ref on it. And like those low and mid-major conferences, when they have games on Thursdays and Fridays, they get really good officials from the ACC because there aren't ACC games on those days. There aren't SEC games on those days. So if you're in this region, like if you're in the Big South of the CAA or whatever, you're going to get some good officials for your midweek games.
Yeah. Who have we not mentioned? Teddy Valentine, Pat Adams. I mean, I want to give some love.
Ted Valentine's not
Is he
calling
done?
Games this year. Yeah, he's done.
Wow. No one hit me with that news. Wow.
It was kind of, I don't think anybody's actually done the story because I don't think anybody's actually gotten it confirmed on the record or anything, but like it's February 4th. He has not worked a game this year.
Man,
he is no longer a college basketball official.
Pour one out for TV Teddy on the college basketball game. Goodness.
Yeah, talk about egos.
Well, we will see if a referee's ego comes into play on Saturday for North Carolina and Duke. Going to be a great game. Connor, I know that you're going to have plenty of coverage over at Devils Illustrated. Tell me, what are you working on these days? How can people support you?
Oh gosh, we'll have a couple things up. Today's Wednesday afternoon. Thursday is when you really want to tune in. And go check it out today if you want, but Thursday afternoon, that's when the coverage will really start cranking up, and we'll get some game preview type stuff. I like writing a column going into this game on Duke and kind of where they are and where they are in the season. It's weird because they've played 22 games and you feel like they're 2/3 of the way done with the regular season because they are, and then you feel like the first Carolina game is like the actual start of the season because it's actually like this is when you jump into the deep end of the pool. So we'll get great coverage over at Devils Illustrated and hope people check it out.
Yeah, put me in the club of the Conor O'Neill fan club. My takes, I love it, and certainly go read all of Conor's work. Good to see you, pal. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, JJ.
All right, that's Conor O'Neill joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. Guys, that's going to bring our show today to a close. Thank you, everybody, for your support with what you do here with Locked On, watching us, subscribing to the channel, and that's how you're going to be able to get all of the latest episodes. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. You can find us on X at LO_Blue Devils. I'm there as well at _JJ_Jackson_. If you ever miss a show, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Blue Devils ad-free, plus members-only Discord access, and so much more. Head to LockedOnBlueDevils.supercast.com. For those of you on video, we're going to send you out to our Locked On College Sports 24/7 YouTube channel. And on audio, make sure for your second listen, go check out Locked On College Basketball. Get ready for a big-time game like this. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.